Elbaf is about to witness the most important battle of the final saga, and the man who could change everything hasn't even shown up yet. Luffy is pinned to a tree, two legendary swords running through his body. Gaban, wounded and aging, is standing alone, holding back the strike of the most powerful being in the world, and there's only one person in the entire world of One Piece who could flip this fight on his own. That person is an ocean away.
Elbaf is Shanks' territory. Before this arc even started, he was there celebrating with the Giants, the same place where he took down Kid with a single strike back in chapter 1179. The Giants treat Shanks like family. He's respected and loved on that island in a way no other pirate is. And that bond goes way beyond territorial protection. In chapter 1152, a flashback from 14 years ago shows Shanks and Gaban talking at Gaban's house in Elbaf. They reminisce about sailing with Roger, talk about Dory and Brogy, and Gaban calls Shanks the child of destiny. By the end of that same flashback, Shanks is shown crying, because he knew that the tragedy of Harold being taken over by IMU was, in some way, his responsibility. But this is where most fans stop connecting the dots. Shanks is the son of Figurland Garling. He was born in God Valley as a celestial dragon. And chapter 1167 revealed something huge. After Roger's death, Shanks went back to the Holy Land and actually became a god's knight. He received the Abyss mark on his left arm, but he ran. He rejected that fate, and here's the detail most people never stop to think about: that spot was his. When he ran, he opened up a vacancy, and Harold was the one who took his place as a god's knight. In other words, even though Shanks isn't directly to blame, Harold's tragedy was born, in part, from the spot Shanks left empty, and there's more. In chapter 1169, when Harold lost control of his body because of his pact with AMU and started attacking everyone in Alabarna Castle, who showed up to stop him? Gaban and Shanks, together. The two of them used Conqueror's Haki to wear Harold down bit by bit, while Locke searched for Ivankov's legendary fruit. It took 3 men to contain a single god's knight who'd lost control: Gaban, Shanks, and Locke. That's the exact same formation that could repeat itself now. Except this time, the opponent isn't a god's knight. It's IMU himself. And with Locke out of the fight, Shanks' presence stops being just possible. It becomes necessary.
There's a detail that makes Shanks' arrival even more plausible, and it's been hiding inside a mystery that's over 20 years old. In chapter 533, a sailor tells Vice Admiral Momonga that Shanks has just clashed with Kaido in the New World, and Ace's execution was set for 29 hours later. It's practically impossible to cross half the planet in that time using conventional sailing. But if Shanks has access to the Abyss system, the same teleportation pentagram that Shenru and Aganku used to summon the gods' knights straight to Elbaf in chapter 1140, everything lines up. Alabarna Castle has an Abyss mark, and Shanks carried that exact same mark on the arm he lost. We don't know if losing the limb that carries the mark also erases the pact, but if the access still exists, Shanks could teleport straight into the throne room, exactly where the battle against IMU is happening. And that might be the biggest clue Oda has left us.
So far, only one thing has actually affected IMU enough to make him tremble in pain: Joy Boy's Conqueror's Haki. When that aura was released in Egghead, it nullified the 5 Elders' power and knocked out Vice Admirals. And guess who the Giants compared that monstrous Haki to? Shanks. In chapter 1123, Dory and Brogy feel what might be the most powerful Haki in One Piece history, and they still question whether it's actually stronger than Shanks's. Oda used Shanks as the benchmark at the exact moment he introduced the most absurd Haki ever shown in the series. That's not a coincidence. Shanks paralyzed Admiral Ryokugyu from a distance, without even being physically present. He took down Kid in one hit. He defeated Locke and sent him back to Elbaf, the same Locke who managed to wound IMU.
IMU has a time limit outside the Holy Land that's already been established. When Harold died, IMU felt pain. The longer he stays outside, the worse the side effects get. Shanks probably can't beat IMU, but he wouldn't need to win. He'd just need to hold on long enough to force a retreat. That would keep IMU undefeated for the final war, preserve the villain's grandeur, and at the same time, finally show, for the first time ever, the full scale of Shanks' power. It's impossible not to think of Marineford, and Oda loves creating mirror moments between major events. Enter Chapter 1. 1189 ended with Gaban standing between IMU and Luffy, an old wounded man holding two axes against the most powerful being in the world. When he falls, or is about to fall, the entire castle is going to shake under the weight of an absurd conqueror's haki. The fighters will freeze, the air will grow heavy, and before any character even appears, everyone will recognize that presence. The man who inspired Luffy to become a pirate, the pirate with the highest active bounty in the world, the son who rejected celestial dragon blood, the child of destiny who chose his own destiny, Figureland Shanks against Nerona Imu, the strongest man in history against the strongest man of the current era. Personally, I believe Oda has been building toward this since chapter 1152, and if I'm right, the moment this gets confirmed is going to break the fandom. If this theory is right, it changes how we read every single chapter involving Shanks and Elbaf. But I want to know what you think.